Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. And this watch is an incredibly fresh 2023 launch from Audemars Piguet. It is the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore Chronograph in a combination of yellow, gold, and ceramic. This is from the 43mm family. It has a mass of 160.22 grams, so though it is highly sapphire and ceramic, its composition is not such that it feels too light, so it's got substance to it. 14.2 millimeters thick if we measure just case lug to case lug. It's 53.4 across the wrist. If we measure these intermediate links, they're called the plaits. We're not going to lose the plaits. They are 56.7 millimeters across the wrist. So I'll let you judge whether my wrist of 16 centimeters can successfully wear this watch. There are no lies here, guy. You see the size of my wrist. I'm telling you the measurements. So if your wrist is my size or larger, I'm going to say game on, but you're going to have to like the oversized look. If your wrist is 17 centimeters circumference or larger, then it's probably going to be perfect. It's going to look just right. So I'm borderline here, but I'm giving you at least a frame of reference. It's flatter than I expected, though it's not thin, so jacket cuffs should be just fine. The strap, as with most current offshores, features a quick-release system that is based on push buttons. So if you want to swap this to a different look, you can easily do so, and Audemars Piguet has made this a cinch. The look of the watch, ceramic with yellow gold, is utterly stunning, and I would say that Rolex and Audemars Piguet probably do the best job of iterating designs and keeping the look sharp and innovative, nuanced and new, whereas companies maybe like Hublot and Panerai struggle a little bit where you start to feel that there is an element of repetition. But Rolex and AP can take the same basic design and renew it indefinitely, seemingly across generations. The Offshore, traditionally either a 44 or 42 millimeter watch, here now a 43, with this striking combination of true yellow gold and ceramic in polish and satin. Some have called this the John Player Special, and I'm not going to argue with that. It does have elements of that. One might also say it's Cornish colors, I believe black and gold. And of course, there was already a JPS from De Bethune, but De Bethune watches tend to be very inside baseball, whereas this is a lot more mainstream. So my guess is if you want to call this the JPS, there won't be enough De Bethune people to shout you down. Taking a look now at the details, the strap is not a hornback. We're used to seeing hornback alligator straps on AP watches. This is a more conventional flat scale, and as a result, it's a bit more flexible overall. It's got a folded edge, it's bolstered to give it some volume. We've got a contrasting stitch. You can see that there's a massive AP yellow gold buckle, which does have a little bit of polish accenting on it, and then media blast on the bottom, and brushed facets topside. Taking a look at the plots themselves, they're brushed gold. We have a case that is finished as intricately as though it were metal, and whether you're getting a gold or a platinum or a titanium or a steel, royal oak, you're going to want these artisanally executed facets, and they are here. They're just as sharp, well executed, and numerous as if this were a metal royal oak. With the 43s, you've got a little bit of a change in how the bezel is formed. From the top, it's still the rounded octagon that Gerald Genta penned in 1972, inspired by a vintage diving helmet, but you can see in profile, it thins out quite a bit at 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock, and it actually thickens up a little bit and rides higher at 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock. There's also a camber or curvature to the crystal that's difficult to explain, though I'm going to let the distortion and the refractory patterns tell the story there. We have steel hexagonal bolts because this is an offshore, so they are steel. They're in the bezel, and because they're bolts, you can get the slots aligned all the way around. People always ask me, why can't that be the way on every watch? And I say, well, not every watch uses visible bolts. Most of them use screws, and screws cannot reliably be aligned like this. The same is not true of the case back, where you can see that these are truly screws. And then we've got yellow gold on the case back with polished lips, so you can see that even the gold parts are intricately finished. We've got these satin finished yellow gold shoulders for the triggers of the chronograph, which are alternately satinated and polished. We have the hexagonal form on the ceramic collar of the primary crowns. We have ceramic here, ceramic everywhere you see black, with the exception of the dial. Now, if you get very close, you can see there's a bit of a nuance to the texture of this mega tapisserie, which is the biggest of the hobnails. It's the one that generally is stamped rather than pantograph cut. And so what's true about the petite tapisserie and the grand is that they are cut on lathes. And for a long time, that meant they had a very intricate pattern that couldn't be duplicated with stamping. So AP decided on the Mega, it was going to go back to the drawing board and try to add some of those intricacies. And so when you get very close, you can see that there's sort of a cross-hatched linking of these hobnails, as well as a vertical striation within them. Taking a look at the dial, generally it is black and gold, just like the watch, with symmetrical registers, each one with a polished chaptering, a tachymetric scale outboard, which along with a flyback chronograph can be used to gauge the speed of things moving very quickly and events occurring in rapid succession. A flyback does not need to be stopped before it is reset and restarted. It all happens in one motion. AP gives us yellow gold logo indices and hands, so they will never tarnish or oxidize. You can see we've got a stop seconds function. We've also got a quick set for the date, and then the date disc is the same color as the dial. Well done, AP. Let's just run that date disc a little bit further here. I want to show you something. Audemars Piguet does a good job of giving us consistent fonts. So if you look at the 3 on that disc, and then you look at the 3 on the tachymetric scale, and then you look at the 3 on the minute scale, it is the same 3. And so keeping fonts straight like that is a challenge, often failed by many watchmakers. We'll do some loom, though as you can see, there is none to be seen. Screw down crown, 100 meters, water resistant. The movement does feature a vertical clutch for engagement without stagger or jump of the seconds hand. And if you want to leave it running full time, there is no additional wear and tear or penalty for leaving a vertical clutch running. The column wheel is also super crisp. You hear it, you feel it. It's very satisfying. You can also see that the counterweight here has been blacked out to visually mute its presence, and that if you get very close, you can see there's a subtle azurage inside the center of the registers. Rolling it all over. We have a caliber 4401, which is unique because it has a vertical clutch that is visible. You can see it's very subtle right there, but it's almost unheard of, almost, to have a visible vertical clutch. It's a big movement at 32 millimeters in diameter. You can see it uses ceramic rotor bearings for higher winding efficiency. It has a 70-hour power reserve, a 4 hertz beat rate. It's a 40 joule movement. It's got a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance for shock resistance. And there's your column wheel right there. It's a good-looking movement with a combination of mechanical and manual decoration, and AP does a good job of making the movement look its price, so I don't feel shorted in any way here. It's a very durable movement that was built with sports watches in mind first, that happens to find its way into dress watches, but it was built with this as a base case, so it's a very tough movement for a very tough watch. And the scratch-resistant element here is highly attractive. Though there is gold, it's mostly shielded and lower than the bezel and inboard of the case. So there's only a few pieces here that could even theoretically scratch, since ceramic is so resilient. A watch that I love, and as I mentioned earlier, it feels super fresh. The Royal Oak Offshore might have been all of 30 years old by the time this watch debuted in 2023, but this feels like something fundamentally new, or at least fresh enough that it doesn't feel like a repeat, and it keeps Audemars Piguet's icon from getting moldy. It remains just as sharp as the day it was originally dressed in 72 as the Royal Oak, or 1993 as the Offshore. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.